the promoters of the Southwestern, first of all, the Southern Heritage Classic, they are suing the SWAC conference, Jackson State University, and head football coach Deion Sanders as a result of Jackson State pulling out of that annual football game. Summitt Management Corporation, the organizers of the Southern Heritage Classic, they are suing them for breach of contract. Of course, Deion Sanders and Jackson State announced they would not participate in the Southern Heritage Classic this fall due to a scheduling conflict. They later came out and said they will play this fall, but will not play there in 2023 and 24. JSU will play a particular game in Birmingham in the SWAC Classic. Now, the Southern Heritage Classic organizers believe the SWAC intentionally interfered with Jackson State's previous commitments. In 2019, Jackson State University signed a 5-year deal with Summitt Management Corporation. The management company is asking for $1.8 million a year for the next 2 years from Jackson State, and they also are asking for several $1 million from the SWAC. Now, of course, the games are supposed to be going from 2019 through 2024. And as I said, JSU said they will play it in 2022, not play the game in 2023 as well as in 2024. One of the things that Deion Sanders said is that Jackson State only received $350,000 to play in the game, and after the cost of buses and hotels for the players, administrators, and the band, ain't no money left over. Now, here's what's real interesting. The promoters, DeMario, are asking Jackson State to pay $1.8 million in 2023 and 2024 for pulling out. So it begs the question, why would they be asking Jackson State for $1.8 million, but according to Deion, JSU is only being paid $350,000 from the promoters? Deion has been saying, why do we need a middleman? Why do we need promoters making more money than the schools when we're the ones bringing the fans for the game?
Man, I so appreciate Deion Sanders. He was one of my favorite players growing up, and seeing what he's doing for black colleges and for black people's mentality. He's saying we have a product that we own and we should be getting the highest possible bidding like any other Division I or Division 1A football program. I think Deion Sanders is absolutely correct here. It's the same argument, I think, when we're talking about the Oscars and all these other white organizations that we want to make sure we're a part of, instead of just creating our own power base and being able to call our own number. That's what Deion Sanders is saying here. He's saying, look, this is bad business deal for us. We're not making any money. We are a brand. We can have 60,000 people show up because we are JSU. Now, to your question, Roland, why they're probably suing for $1.8 million, they're suing for that because of lost profits. I mean, I'm sure that this company, I haven't seen the contracts, but I'm sure this company makes a very strong profit. If they're only paying $350,000 per team, they may be bringing in $3 or $4 million at the end of the day of this particular weekend. And that's what they're talking about. They're saying we're losing our profits, and this was something that the other side had an opportunity to review the contract, and they signed on. I haven't seen the contract. This may be something that's protracted, or another avenue is for it to just settle. Jackson State pay the money, then go on and make deals with other big schools like Texas A&M, go down and beat your Aggies and get $4 or $5 million for that.
So let me school you newbies into the Southeastern Conference, folks like OU in Texas. And so let me educate you before I go to Mustafa on this one. First and foremost, the SEC doesn't allow those games anymore. You got to play more SEC games. And so when Texas get their ass whooped in the SEC, and when the Aggies beat up on OU as well, y'all gonna learn what the new rules are, because this is no longer the Big 12, DeMario. So nice, cute little try, but those homecoming games no longer exist because they have an impact on the rankings. And you got to play more SEC schools. But we will welcome to whoop y'all ass in the SEC. Now, Mustafa, let me go to you, because clearly DeMario don't know what he's talking about. And so here's the deal that you have here when you talk about these classics. What Deion is saying, and this is what people don't understand, historically, many of these HBCUs they've foregone home games, and they played in these classics. Well, part of the thing that DeMario said is that we saw this year, they had some 55,000 fans who were in the stands in Jackson. So you're playing a game in Memphis where you're being paid to play in it, but you're bringing the fans. You're bringing the fans, the teams, and the games. So without you, there's no game. In fact, in the lawsuit, Mustafa, Summitt said that they don't have enough time to find a replacement team that would bring as many fans to the game as Jackson State. Okay, but if they're going to play in the game in 2022, you got a whole year to find a replacement. So this is a very interesting battle here, because what we're talking about here are these HBCUs saying, wait a minute, we can make more money ourselves versus promoters making money from these games. I've heard the exact same thing of Prairie View and Grambling. They play in the State Fair Classic, but they don't actually make the lion's share of the money. The promoter does.
It's all about power and resources. And, folks are understanding their wealth. Jamar talked a little bit about that. And I think that that's a big part of it, that folks are no longer willing to be a part of or work for sharecropper wages, if you could say it that way. Folks are now understanding that they can pretty much demand what they're worth, and that they can also begin to negotiate and frame out a different direction that actually brings the types of resources that they should be garnering. So I'm all for that. We done tap danced long enough. We have been underpaid long enough. And now, there has to be a new paradigm moving forward. So, I support our brother Deion, and I support all those who are now, actually doing what they can to change, this overall set of dynamics that have literally, kept resources out of many of our historically black colleges and universities.
One of the things, Kelly, that again, look, I'm a Texas A&M graduate, and we make tremendous amounts of money on home games. Well, what you see with a lot of these major HBCUs, they don't have home games. So they literally are playing in these classics. If you play, let's say, 14 games, you have 7 away games, 7 home games. Well, the way some of these things are, they play in so many classics, they only plan maybe 1 or 2 or 3 games at home. Well, if you're building your brand and you're trying to get people to come to your games, you're in a sense giving away money by going off to play in classics. Now, again, if you can't draw that number of people to your small town, that's a whole different conversation. But we've seen already how Jackson State drew 50,000+ people to their final game. If Deion's thinking is, wait a minute, if we have more of our home games on campus, we can be making that money. That money is going into the Jackson, Mississippi economy versus going into the Memphis, Tennessee economy. That impacts the state. And remember, Jackson State is a state institution. If you become an economic engine for the state, when you go to the state seeking more money to fund your university, you can say, hey, JSU is bringing X amount of millions into the city every year during football season. We should be getting more money from the state. And so, now granted, in this case, they're creating this SWAC Classic that will be taking place in Birmingham. But again, that's a situation where JSU is a SWAC school, SWAC game taking place where the conference is controlling the game versus the Southern Heritage Classic, where an independent promoter is actually controlling the lion's share of the profits for that.
Understood. From my perspective on this, because I am not a college football fanatic, I do not watch it often, so this is all news to me. But from what I've heard in this discussion, it appears as though white people still consider investing in HBCUs a risk, period. So the reason why they are so gung-ho about JSU doing what they want them to do is because on one end, they don't believe that HBCUs can stand on their own without their help. That's one. But also the fact that they have control of this HBCU within this conference, within these classics, as you say, they are making, frankly, it appears that they're making the HBCU work twice as hard and get less than half the effort.
Well, first of all, these are not white. The promoters of the Southern Heritage Classic, they're black. So they're not white.
Then that's even worse.
So no, this is this is a promoter that puts on this game. They have a lot of things that's happening around the game. It's a major event in Memphis, attracts thousands of people, significant amounts of money. When Jackson State pulled out, Tennessee State's president, Dr. Glenda Glover, said, hey, this is going to impact, cause a big loss to lots of local businesses. Jackson State said, our concern is not Memphis or Tennessee. Our concern is Jackson State.
And that makes sense too. Again, it still appears as though they feel like HBCUs are a risk to invest. So what Sanders is doing, he's taking into consideration the needs of his school first. And frankly, I don't see why anyone has a problem with that mentality, because at the end of the day, like you said, the money needs to go to the school, not to another jurisdiction that they have no control over and certainly won't reap the benefits from.
Well, this is going to be obviously played out here. Also, the depositions are going to be real interesting as well. And so it's going to be, DeMario, go ahead.
I just want to say on the other side of this, we can see how powerful these white college towns, how much money they make when they bring in all seriousness. Roland, you talked about A&M. When 100,000 people come into College Station, 100,000 people come into Norman, 100,000 people go into Iowa City or Lincoln, Nebraska, based upon the labor of black players, bringing millions and millions of dollars. Everybody eats. The school eats. The coaches eat. The small businesses eat. The people parking lot, using their cars to making hundreds of dollars a week. Each game for people to park by the stadium. That is the economy of college athletics, and I'm glad to see that at least one HBCU is trying to bring that back to Jackson, Mississippi, which is a black city with a black mayor, and they need that economic engine to pump up that particular city and that school. So I just wanted to make that point, Roland.
Well, I just think one of the things that you're about to see happen, and let me say this so people can understand. I think now I've been at 65 of the nation's 103 HBCUs. And I'll say this very clearly. I really believe that HBCUs are drastically losing out on lots of money in terms of their intellectual property, in terms of content. So let me say that, in terms of content. There was a deal that was announced today. Byron Allen is his app, HBCU Go, is going to be showing upwards of 2,200 SWAC games. And so the deal was struck between the Southwestern Athletic Conference and Byron Allen's Allen Media. Terms of the deal were not announced, but I need people to understand even when you hear one of those deals. So let's just say it's $1 million deal. Okay, let's just say the SWAC is going to get $1 million a year for their content. Okay, so the SWAC has 12, 14 schools. Guys, let me know. I just want y'all to understand, and again, I don't want y'all to get focused on the million. I want you to understand what it comes down to per school. Okay. When you say, let's see, how many schools in the SWAC? Okay, so you got 12 schools. Okay, so let's just say it's $1 million deal. Let's say the conference gets 250,000. The conference gets 250,000 of the $1 million. Okay. Well, that leaves you with $750,000. Well, $750,000 divided by 12 comes out to be $62,500. That means that each SWAC school will receive $62,500 in that deal. Now, I haven't seen the deal, the contract with Allen Media, but the question is, does the SWAC get to actually sell their own advertising? Or does Allen Media do all the advertising? So Yeah, that's $62,500 per school. Okay, so let's say, remember I said there are 2,200 different games as part of the deal. Okay, so it's 12 schools. So let's just say, okay, that's 183 games per school. So that's baseball, softball, is all different sports. Okay, all right. So 62,500 divided by 183 comes out to $341 per game. Now, again, I'm just throwing this out, and it's not criticizing the deal that Byron Allen did, but I'm putting it out there because I want us to understand, oh, it's $1 million deal. Yeah, but it's 12 schools. Do the math. Last year was a down year economically for the SEC. My alma mater, Texas A&M, and all the other SWAC, all the other SEC schools, which are located in the exact same region of the country as the SWAC, receive $55 million each. What did I just say? They receive $55 million each as a result of the SEC contracts. It's TV, merchandising, it's all those different things that go along with it, but it's largely driven by TV. So what I'm saying is every HBCU should be looking at content totally different. Because let's say I know so Grambling has done a deal with Urban Edge Networks. They handle sales for us, where they actually have their own channel on Urban Edge Networks. Okay? Their own channel, where they're going to place their content on there. So what if Grambling decided to say, all right, we're going to charge our fan base $10 a month to access all of the Grambling content. Y'all remember when the University of Texas launched their own cable channel with ESPN, which was a $300 million deal? So if Grambling said, we're going to launch our own channel, and let's just say 10,000 Grambling fans agree to spend, I'm a lord, $7 a month. Y'all, that's 70 grand per month. If the conference did a $1 million deal with Byron Allen's company and the school gives $62,500, they can make 70 grand per month. 70,000 times 12 comes out to be $840,000. So, and I'm saying that to everybody because what is needed is a greater level of sophistication from our outlets, because here's what is happening. I need everybody who's listening to me to understand something. It's happening and we're seeing it. We literally are having white companies strike deals with black conferences where the schools are not reaping the benefits. The licensing deals, the TV deals, the content deals. You've got HBCUs right now who are excited that their games are on ESPN 2, 3, and 4, and they're showing them for free. Well, I'm sorry. What's the point of showing a game on ESPN for free just so you can say we were on ESPN 4? We were on the ESPN app for free? I told y'all, listen, how many of y'all watched the Florida A&M Jackson State game? And it was televised. Man, what's going on? They didn't show halftime. Because they ain't trying to show halftime. But if you control your own content, you can show halftime. In fact, if you control your own content, you can go get you a sponsor for the halftime show when you stream it on your own. See, what I'm saying is, I need, and y'all been hearing me say this, Black America needs a significant reprogramming right now. Every HBCU president, listen to me clearly, every HBCU president, DeMario, Kelly, and Mustafa, every HBCU board of trustees, every HBCU athletic director should be studying all of the content deals and should be asking themselves, how much are we getting from these deals, and could we strike a better deal? What they should be doing is tapping into the Black expertise that exists out here of people who understand content, who understand the media business, because I'm gonna be real honest. There are a lot of people at our HBCUs right now who know nothing about television, nothing about media, nothing about the cost of production, nothing about advertising, nothing about marketing. And so they are going into negotiations and they're at a disadvantage because you know what happens? Folks dangle a few dollars in front and they grab it without realizing, oh man, we made zero last year. Every HBCU athletic director and president and board should be saying, how much did we make on that deal last year? If the answer is zero, y'all might want to do a new deal. And if y'all have a deal right now and you ain't making no money, what you should be doing is looking at how can we get out of that bad deal and going to strike a much better deal.
And Roland, I think that's why the beauty of what Deion Sanders is doing. I don't know about the specific contract once again, but he's putting the public pressure out there. So if we're having this conversation and saying, well, why should Jackson State be in a deal where they don't make any money or they go into black? Why shouldn't they be trying to maximize their own content? You're exactly right, Roland. And I'm just glad we're having this conversation because there are some things that we control within our own community that we can better leverage to benefit our community and not give things away. I love what Mustafa stated. I wrote it down. Sharecropper wages.
Yeah.
My grandmother was a sharecropper, right? They moved around from farm to farm in the 20s and the 30s, barely surviving, but working harder each year, but barely surviving. And that's what we're seeing with these HBCU type deals that you're talking about, and they're being dangled out with, say, $1 million, but it comes to $60,000. This is a very important conversation, Roland, not only for HBCUs, but for our entire Black community, that we pay attention to those things we can control. The racism, anti-Black, white supremacy that we fight each and every day, we're going to continue to fight that. But there are some things we can't control if we get with the right professionals who have the right skill sets, credentials, and experience. Not just because you're an educator or a pastor or you're a community leader, that's not good enough. You need to be someone that understands finance, insurance, marketing, law, and like you said, media, leading those particular discussions and negotiations.
The thing that again, that troubles me, and I've, like I said, y'all, I've visited a lot of places. And Mustafa, Kelly, and DeMario, when I visit these places, again, my eyes are open. So I'm just going to say, and I'm just going to put this out there. And see, I know what I'm about to say right now is about to really tick off some folk, but you know what? They'll get over it. So if I want to tailgate at the Texas A&M football game, now, mind y'all, our stadium seats 102,500 people. It's the largest stadium in the Southeastern Conference, okay? If I want to tailgate in the parking lot, the massive parking lot across the street from Kyle Field, next to the stadium, or in all those spaces, there literally is a company that I have to call that says, Roland, what would you like? A 10 by 10 tent, a 10 by 15 tent? We will charge you for the space. Oh, if you would like for your event to be catered, we provide this. If you want this, we provide this. Now, and I know somebody right now about to get real upset with me, but y'all gonna get over it. How many people go to HBCU football games and tailgate in the parking lot for free, don't go to the game, don't buy any tickets, spend no money, but they kick at the tailgate and the schools earn nothing? I can tell you what the Houston Texans did, and the Cowboys do, and the NFL teams. They'll say, oh, it's all good. Y'all want to come to the tailgate, not come to the game? Y'all got to pay to come tailgate. Now, I know right now, Mustafa, it's some black folks sitting there going, damn, dog, why you sitting there messing our good thing up? Man, we ain't got to pay. But the point is, the school is making no money, and you are tailgating, and some black folks are selling stuff off the back of the game, and the school ain't making nothing. If you the school, shut it down. You should say, if you gonna tailgate, hey, and you not going to the game, you gotta pay a fee to tailgate, because that's how we make money at the school. Y'all, it's called business.
And it's a way to give back to your institution as well, and make sure that it has a stronger infrastructure underneath of it. Infrastructure doesn't exist without resources. And then when we see our colleges, closing down, we're like, oh, well, it was mismanagement or was this or that. No, it's because in many instances, folks have not making sure that they are finding ways to give back financially. So it just makes sense. I can list a whole bunch of white colleges that charge individuals to be able to have those spaces, just like a number of the pro teams do now. Many of the other schools are doing the same thing. So if we truly care about our institutions, then we have to find ways to be able to support them. And this is one way that you can do it, so you can still have fun and you can socialize, and at the same time, you can support your institution.
And I got somebody right now, Kelly, why compare NFL teams to HBCUs? I'm not. You're not paying attention. Some other person, Roland, that ain't it. You should be sitting here. That's not a good idea. Because there's a whole bunch of folks freeloading. And I'm telling you, we know what the deal is. When it comes, y'all know HBCU homecoming. It's a whole bunch of folk roll up freeloading. Let me tell y'all what the sororities do. You can't roll up at the convention and then not register, but then you want to go shop in where all the vendors are in the convention center. No. You got to show your registration badge. Like, you literally, if you a Delta, you can't say, all right, the convention gonna be in Houston. All right, we gonna go and we gonna get a hotel room. We gonna hit some of the parties. We ain't gonna register because it costs too much. And then we gonna try to get in where the vendors are to buy some Delta gear, buy some AKA gear. No, they at the door. I need to see your registration.
Yeah.
You can't walk in. All I'm saying is what has to happen here is that many of our HBCUs are going to have to maximize their content, their events in a different way. And that is begin to realize that you have something that is marketable, that is of value, and that folk got to pay for. And there are a lot of folk, Kelly, who are freeloading off of HBCUs. And I ain't talking black folks only. It's some white folk that have entered into awful marketing deals for the HBCUs. Now, the company's getting paid, but the HBCU's getting screwed. There's some bad content deals, some bad marketing deals, and I'm telling you, every HBCU president, listen to me clearly, should be saying, I need to see all of the contracts and I need to see what do we own, what intellectual property have we given up, what do we control, how much are we getting for this? Because if we're earning nothing, no, y'all ain't getting our game for free. And if ESPN is showing HBCU games for free, stop with the white validation of saying we're on ESPN when you're on ESPN4 and ain't nobody watching. Take
Roland,
your games off and place it somewhere where you can actually get paid. Kelly, go ahead. Kelly, then DeMario.
I absolutely agree with you. Everything that you just said, ironically, I believe that my alma mater, Bowie State University, is doing. I can't remember the last time I saw them on ESPN for that very reason. But also, the last homecoming that I went to that was on campus, obviously because of COVID, you did have to pay in order to tailgate in the parking lot. Obviously, some people tried to do a workaround around that. But the fact of the matter is that the notion of giving back to your alma mater and making sure that it sustains the test of time and that the legacy is preserved and thriving, that includes monetary things. That includes giving back monetarily. You can't just give back your time. Memories do not pay the bills. Nostalgia does not pay the bills. Money does. So I believe that my alma mater is doing a really good job of that. And there are others as well who I'm sure are, in lockstep with that logic. But you're absolutely right. We cannot continue to take HBCUs for granted when it comes to the history of them and how we feel on a nostalgic level. HBCUs, like everything else in this capitalist society, is a business. And in order for a business to run efficiently, you're going to need money. You're going to need endorsements that are backed by money. Money makes the world go round so long as this is a capitalist society. So, HBCUs are not exempt from that rule. So just keep that in mind when you are talking about how do we preserve our legacies? How do we keep HBCUs around? And when you hear numbers being thrown around like $27 billion or $1 million, think about how we have 105 HBCUs in this country. And every time you hear a big number like that, chances are it's being split amongst, at the very least 5 HBCUs for whatever pot of money that's coming from. That's not a lot of money at the end of the day. How else are they going to get funding? They get it from us, the alum. They get it from the community. They get it through advertising, like you said. So keep all of that in mind, and let's not act like they're selling out when you see these major deals going on.
And first of all, I want to make a final point. DeMario, you want to make a point? Go ahead.
I just want to say that this whole discussion again about intellectual property is so important to our community, even outside the HBCU framework. Our stories and our narratives are powerful and they are worth something. We give so much away on social media. We give so much away in the media. I mean, anytime, even when there's a tragedy, when my clients or someone's loved one is shot and killed or brutalized by the police, and we run to the media because we want to get attention to it, that's good. But then you're giving away so much of that intellectual property that you can utilize later in another way that could be better for your family and your community. So I just appreciate the discussion about intellectual property and how we need to protect it for ourselves, for our own benefit. And as the Sister Kelly just stated, we are a capitalist society, unfortunately, but that's the society we live in. So therefore, we must do what capitalists do, and we must be able to fulfill our businesses and make sure that they're moving forward in our organizations, and they need money until this society's system changes.
So here's my final thoughts, final thoughts on this. Somebody here says, Roland, you are ignoring the potential impact of being on ESPN on the applications for admission. No, you the fool. Here's why you the fool for that particular comment. You the fool for that comment because here's the first question that I'm going to ask if my game is on ESPN4. How many people were watching? That's the first question. How many people were watching? Second, my game is content. It's content. So why am I giving it away for free? And see, here's something else that a lot of y'all get caught up on because y'all don't understand basic numbers. Okay, you showing your game for free on ESPN. Very few folk are watching. And again, it ain't on ESPN 1 or 2 or 3. It's really on the ESPN Plus app that you got to pay monthly a fee for. So largely your fan base is not accessing it. What ESPN is trying to get you to do is to get their app to watch your games. Well, here's the deal. You can have your own channel, HBCU League Pass. So let me unpack this. Now, I love this person, Roland, how very elitist of you. See, for the fool who said that I'm elitist, let me explain something to you. What you don't understand is the average, this right here is the percent of giving of Florida A&M alumni. Maybe you can't see this. %5. That's the average giving at Florida A&M, the alumni. Used to be around 3-4% at Howard, went up to 9 and maybe around 12. Claflin out of South Carolina has the highest percentage of alumni giving at an HBCU, and it exceeds 50%. So that means if you're HBCU, you should be thinking the same way OU in Texas is and A&M. These are revenue generating sports. Revenue generating sports does not mean free tickets. Revenue generating sports doesn't mean free content. Revenue generating sports doesn't mean free marketing. Revenue generating sports doesn't mean you get to walk in here, give us $500, and then you get free reign and we don't get nothing. No, that ain't how that works. What I'm talking about is there has to be a paradigm shift. And so y'all need to watch this lawsuit between the promoter of the Southern Heritage Classic and JSU. And you need to watch what certain HBCUs are doing, especially those with significant brands, such as Grambling, Florida A&M, Jackson State, Howard, Morehouse, Morgan State, Hampton. I can go Texas Southern University, Tennessee State. And I dare say to the HBCU leadership, if you have people who are making decisions who don't know a damn thing about media or television or streaming or marketing, take the power out of their hands, and you need to go find you some black people with experience in this space so y'all don't get screwed out of the money. Because Mustafa is right. There are a whole bunch of HBCUs right now operating as sharecroppers where y'all are tilling the soil and somebody else is benefiting financially off of what you till in that soil. Back to that Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment.
time to be smart.
Roland Martin's doing this every day.
Oh, no punches!
Thank you, Roland Martin, for always giving voice to the issues.
Look for Roland Martin in the whirlwind, to quote Marcus Garvey again.
The video looks phenomenal, so I'm really excited to see it on my big screen.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
I got to defer to the brilliance of Dr. Carr and to the brilliance of the Black Star Network.
I am rolling with Roland all the way. Honored to be on a show that you own. A black man owns the show.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Roland was amazing on there.
Hey, Black, I love y'all.
I can't commend you enough about this platform that you've created for us to be able to share who we are, what we're doing in the world, and the impact that we're having.
Let's be smart. Bring your eyeballs home.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
You dig?